I'm in California looking for big sky country. And I'm driving an American legend, a Sportsmobile. The road ahead is long, straight, and going nowhere. Just the way I like it.
I just realized now that it's now official. I have the best job in the entire world because I get to come to places all over the world and drive interesting vehicles, and I get to come to places like this.
Travelling with me is Alan Felt, boss man at Sportsmobile.
This is really hard ground though.
And a good friend from Colorado, Bob Towery.
There it is, the mighty Colorado River. We're we're looking for the Mojave Road Trail. The Mojave Road Trail is a well-established, well-known 4x4, recreational 4x4 trail in North America. It has really a very, very rich history. But what I like about it the most is that it is completely uncommercialized. So much so that the road to get on it is not even signposted. So we've set up camp here with the two Sportsmobile and my friend Bob Towery from Colorado. He's here with his Toyota Tacoma. And we're going to spend 3 days in the desert exploring the Mojave Road Trail.
The Mojave Desert occupies a significant portion of Southern California, as well as parts of Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. Our trail begins near the town of Bullhead City and travels across barren, almost uninhabited land, ending at the Soda Lake near the town of Barstow. It will take us 3 days. I've already been in America for 2 weeks. The country's largest overland and 4x4 expo is held each May in Arizona, and that's the main attraction. But I've also come here to satisfy my lust for machinery. So my first stop is the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, where there is one of the world's most spectacular collections of Cold War hardware. I start this year's visit to Arizona here, near the town of Tucson. This is the David Monson Air Base. It's very close, and this is where old aircraft come to die. An enormous reclamation center where aircraft are stored or scrapped, or in this case at the Pima Aerospace Museum, kept on show. What an extraordinary example of Cold War machinery. There's great exotics like British Canberras and Shackletons, and the great part about it, can you hear that? But it's the Hercules doing bumps and training at the airbase. So while you watch look at the aircraft, you can watch it fly overhead as well. This behemoth is the Super Guppy. It was a converted Boeing Stratocruiser, if I am right, converted to carry components for the Apollo spaceship. So there you have a relic of the space age. This aircraft is Boeing 707, but no ordinary Boeing 707. More people have thrown up in that aircraft than in any other aircraft in history. In fact, it is called the Vomit Comet. NASA used it to train their astronauts in zero gravity. The aircraft would basically fly high and then dive, and then in a parabola, and as it went down, it would fly at 0 G. Then it would
recover, and by the time that had done that a few times, a lot of people in that aircraft were very, very sick. I would have loved to have done that. That aircraft there, Avro Shackleton, has a very special place in my heart. I'll show you why. Flown by only two air forces, the Royal Air Force and the South African Air Force. And the reason why I have a soft spot in my heart for the Shackleton is that in 2000 I made a documentary film. It was broadcast by Discovery Channel, and it was about a South African Air Force Shackleton that took off from Cape Town on its way to the UK to take part in the 1994 air show season, and it crashed. They had a failure of both right-hand engines within 10 minutes of each other. All 19 crew survived. They walked away, they were rescued, and they actually restored a second aircraft. That was the one in which I flew and used to make the documentary. This is the experimental Boeing YC-14. Only two were ever built. What strikes me is the resources and the waste, the amount of money spent on these machines of war. Anyway, amazing place, absolutely extraordinary. I made one mistake. I missed the tour bus that leaves at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I missed it. There's one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that actually takes one through the reclamation section where they actually break aeroplanes up. And that'll be the conclusion of my trip to Davis-Monthan Air Base. Harry, I'm back again 2 years in a row at the Overland Expo, Flagstaff, Arizona. It's May 2015, and I enjoyed myself last year so much that I decided to come back. One of the things that is very obvious about the American overland scene is that it is very varied. Shows in places like Australia and South Africa, most of the vehicles will be fairly small by comparison, and in the United States vehicles can be everything from an enormous truck to a fairly ordinary pickup. It strikes me that the choice we have when it comes to overlanding vehicles is big, medium or small. I'm used to small, comparatively small anyway. Toyota Land Cruiser, converted into a camper. You can kind of live in it, but you wouldn't really want to live in it for very long. And I asked the question, if I was to drive around the world for a year, would I be happy living out of a very small vehicle? Well, of course, the alternative is something like this, which doesn't appeal to me at all. As magnificent as some of them are, very large overlanding trucks do nothing for me. And besides, many national parks, they just simply don't let them in. They're just too big. But there is an alternative. I'm still sleeping. Did it snow last night? I dreamt that it snowed last night. Well, this is where I spent the night last night. Sun is just coming up. It's 5:30 and the light out there is wonderful, so I'm going to go and take some pictures. See? Told you. Dreamt it was snowing. Didn't snow at all. Interesting thing about this vehicle that I'm driving, the Sportsmobile. It's gathered a clan of customers, is too a drier word, a fellowship of drivers. I mean, all of these vehicles you can see here, they're all Sportsmobiles, and they've all gathered. It reminds me of the RV meets. RV is a home-built aircraft called an RV, and hundreds of them gather every year to a single place in the United States. There are thousands of them flying all over the world. This is the equivalent. And as I walk past them, each of them is humming with their heaters running. There must be 30, 40 here. Hang on, whoa, stop there. Go back. He's an imposter. Here I am again with my old friends at Mojo Griddle and being fed. I am pleased to say that the standard of the food this year's event is much improved. Maybe they saw my video. I like to think so.
Well, this cleans in 30 seconds.
Yeah, this one is for that. That's all right. No sooner had I tucked into my tortilla, but the rain began to fall. And in the traditional exhibitors' drinks gathering, the rain turned to snow. What astonishes me is the dedication that overlanders have to their sport, their activity, their pastime. We spent the day today in pouring rain. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon now, and a good heavy snow shower has ensued. I spent the day selling a few books and a few DVDs, but enjoying the whole scene here. It's absolutely fantastic. Did my seminars, my filmmaking seminars, and now just reveling in this amazing environment with snow coming down in piles. And a few people are leaving, but most people are staying. Absolutely amazing.
Is it like a shot of
Oh, better go and set up my. I'm doing a film show tonight. They're showing one of my television shows at the film festival. Better go and set it up. Well, all around me, the exhibitors are preparing for a night camping. So the great thing is about these overland outdoor exhibits, people stay on their stands the whole weekend and get with the whole camping thing themselves. There's still glimmer in the west of the sunset, and the temperature has plummeted, probably down now to 8-9 degrees Celsius. And as all of the exhibitors, I imagine, now preparing themselves for a cold night, because amazingly enough, in May, Flagstaff, Arizona, tomorrow snow is forecast. Well, I've woken up dead of night. Absolute silence except for a light hissing sound and a hum. Hissing sound, snow on the Sportsmobile's roof. And the hum actually is the heater. This thing actually has a European-built gas-fired heater. And wow, I don't know how it is outside, but it's quite pleasant in here. And first night, very comfortable. We'll see if the snow settles,
and it'll be white in the morning.
Well, early morning it is, and, well, need I say more? This is where I spent part of my day yesterday. After my filmmaking seminars, I came and sat here. Lovely bunch of people. And this is called the Author's Table, and how people are going to get to it this morning with all this water here. It snowed all night. Well, snow, rain, and somebody yesterday did such a wonderful gesture. It was just so touching. You know, I like a Coke, and in my videos it's often, I'm holding a Coke, and he brought me a Coke. Here it is. I drank it yesterday. Here it is here. What a wonderful gesture. He just brought me a Coke. You know, how a wonderful thing. Anyway, it made my day. I desperately want to show you the campground, because yesterday it just rained and rained and rained, and between the rain there was quite a bit of rain. It's unbelievable. Now, the story goes that almost every single vehicle in the camping ground was bogged down. They had some military truck or something that pulled out yesterday afternoon about 40 vehicles out of the slime. It's clay, you see, because this is actually a lake bed. And, you know, lake bed, silt gets wet and the mud sticks to everything. And I'm finding it incredibly difficult to walk. And I'm going to turn the camera off now, because if I fall over, I don't want you laughing at me. It's not a funny matter. Man, it's difficult walking. Stop giggling.
I never did reach the campsite because my excursion was interrupted. During the brief time that the sun did appear on Sunday, the Land Rovers could not venture onto their track. It was still just too sticky. But most of the activities and lectures went on regardless.
As we leave civilization this morning and Arizona, it strikes me that the Overland Expo is unlike any other expo I've been to, in that it is, yes, it's commercial to a point where people go there to sell stuff and market their wares, but it is far more about people. It's far more about making contacts, making friends. And I must say that every time I've been there, I've made friends, but created real genuine friendships. And in fact, traveling with now Bob Tari, I met him last year at the Overland Expo. We'd been communicating a bit. He'd just been a subscriber of mine, you know, nothing more than that. And now doing a trip together. I noticed the Sportsmobile clan gathering. Friendship, networking, it's about people. It's what makes that show unique. And the way I know this is true is that despite all that terrible, terrible weather, very few people left. They stuck it out in the slush, mud, and freezing snow just to be together. It's actually quite remarkable.
Mojave Road. Now, I wonder how the first people found it, when the sign wasn't here.
Well, here we are at the beginning of the Mojave Road. It's taken about 2 hours to actually find the point We have an old book. The new book has lots of GPS coordinates, so we've been doing it the difficult way, without the use of GPS, but we have at last found it, so our adventure begins here. But this is where I really belong. On the trail with an open road in front of me, no distractions, well, except for this one. A fantastic thing. And I get to come to places like this and see these mad cactuses. Oh, these beautiful things. Oh, it's stuck hard on my foot. Oh man, that's, wow. I'm going to need a special tool to get that off. I'll never get that off with my hands. These cacti have an appropriate name. They're called leaping cactus. A good name, I'd say. You can't touch this with your hands. It's absolutely lethal. I've never known a cactus to be quite this angry and vicious. They are quite scary things. Tell you something. You accidentally get one of those in your sleeping bag and you will have a very, very miserable night.
On a motorbike, you'd have to keep your butt so far up to keep from getting slapped in the butt so hard it'll...
Well, quite hot, but not extremely so. Probably about 30 degrees Celsius. Letting down the tires as the track gets a little bit sandy.
These are automatic deflators from Trail Ready, and what's really nice, you can set them, and these have a pressure setting, and you can set them anywhere from 15 to 40 psi. And all you have to do is do one, and then you count the number of turns, and you set the other tires the same way. So you only have to measure one, and then you put them on, and you can actually drive with them while you're on the road. And they'll deflate, and then you just unscrew them. Actually comes with this real nice tire deflator guide here, so you can actually go to your tire size and the weight of the gross vehicle weight of the vehicle, and it actually come down here and actually tell you, what the tire settings should be for those different tires and the weight of your vehicle, which is kind of really nice. So a little handy indicator there that comes with it.
I'm in California on the second part of my expedition crossing the Mojave Desert. I'm traveling with two friends and driving what has become an icon of North American overlanding, the Sportsmobile. The Mojave Desert covers a significant portion of Southern California, as well as parts of Arizona and Nevada. Our trail traverses almost uninhabited desert, and it will take us 3 days to cross. Along the trail there are 4 water holes. This is Fort Mohave. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the valley we've crossed is called Mohave Valley. Now the interesting thing is that soldiers were billeted here to protect the water hole from bandits and Indians. And they actually had to billet soldiers to protect the water holes, because by protecting the water holes it meant that they actually protected the entire area, because without going to those water holes it's just too big and too arid for anybody to cross.
Hey Andrew, I think you need to take a rock from here, and maybe in 100 miles or so you'll figure out why you need it.
Does it matter which? No, apparently it doesn't matter what rock. There's such a big choice here. I know, this looks like a piece of volcanic rock. I've been told I have to have one with me. I'm not allowed to venture one more foot without a piece of landscape. And they refuse to tell me why. So I'll do it.
Crossing deserts is a passion of mine, and I can't help comparing the Mojave with other deserts that I've crossed.
The terrain in so many ways is similar to the Richtersveld, but also actually not. This is the closest I would say that the Mojave has to the halfmensboom, that absolutely beautiful plant growing in isolated hills in the northern part of the Richtersveld, endemic to the area. And it is similar stance, the way this doesn't face in any particular direction, but the moment I saw it I thought that's very, very similar to the halfmens.
And the other passion of mine, of course, is driving 4x4s.
Day 2 in the Sportsmobile. I've learned a lot about this very interesting vehicle. I think many people who would look at it might just think, well, it's a Ford van that's been beefed up a little bit and four-wheel drive system added to it. I believe it's a lot more than that. For example, they didn't just take an axle off the shelf and use that, and then take a transfer gearbox and add that on and kind of compile it from existing products. A lot of the products, including some of the major ones, are actually custom. They're actually built for the Sportsmobile. Shock absorbers, one of them. They actually have them specifically made and tuned and set up for this vehicle.
For example, the purpose-designed and built transfer case.
Andrew, this is the transfer case that's in the van that you were driving, and it's a little different than most you'll see. It's got what they call twin sticks. So we can actually shift the rear and front axle independently, and it's not a chain-driven transfer case, it's actually a gear-driven transfer case. Engage the rear, we now have rear wheel high. We can take the front and engage it, and now we have four-wheel drive, high range. We can take the rear and put it in low, and now we have four-wheel drive, low range. So instead of a chain, we now have gearing, which gives us more capabilities and flexibility.
The whole concept of it, to me, it's very interesting. If you think about overland touring vehicles, there are three main categories. Small. Now my Land Cruiser would be considered small. It's not a vehicle. You can live out of it, kind of, because I've got a camper conversion, but it's not really designed for living out of. So, and that means that when the weather gets really, really bad, you're camping. You're living in a tent, and you are exposed to all of the bad weather. Once you get to this size, and while this is a big vehicle, it's only a medium-sized vehicle. It can easily fit into a shipping container, so as a world touring vehicle, putting it in the container is possible, whereas the very large trucks, which actually don't appeal to me at all, personally, but they are very much live-in vehicles, more so than anything else, because you can't put them in a shipping container, the big ones, and therefore shipping them across the seas is more complicated and subject to major security problems. So this size of vehicle is ideal for world cruising because you live in it. When the weather gets nasty, you have everything built in, and yet it can still fit into a shipping container. Now, if I look at the United States, now, I don't know a lot about the trailing here, but I'm getting an idea of the scene, the overlanding scene in the United States. And there are huge areas to explore, much bigger than I first thought, and areas where they're accessible all year round in all weathers. And in a vehicle like this, weather is no longer an issue. It has a built-in heater system, it has built-in electric system, solar panels, it has both a 110 volt AC system and a 12 volt DC system, all built into it. So when the weather gets bad, you can protect yourself against the weather. But what's it like to drive long distance? Now, the United States, North America has the most extraordinary system of interstate highway. As a motorway cruiser, this is excellent. It's quiet, it's fast, it's powerful, it's nice to drive. You could do long distances in it. The ride is good. I can't fault it. And of course, you've got built-in fridges and everything, and it has so much going for it in terms of the United States. And I honestly think that if I lived here and wanted to explore this country, I would so seriously consider this kind of vehicle. I really, really would. It seems to deliver everything that you would want. It wouldn't be any good as an Africa tour vehicle. It doesn't have the range. You don't need, you need 1,000-kilometer range for Africa travel, overland travel. You have to have that. This not close to that. Even though this has a modified fuel tank, it's 42 gallons is what I think he told me. So it does have a reasonable range, but it's got a enormous V10 engine, so it's very heavy on fuel.
There we go.
The current caretaker of Sportsmobile is passionate off-roader Alan Felt.
Sportsmobile is over 50 years old, and it was originally designed for the Volkswagen van again back in 1961, and that's how it started. And since then, we've moved away from the Volkswagen chassis, and Westphalia has pretty much taken that over in the mid-60s with their pop-top, and we started doing Ford, Chevy, and Dodge chassis. And now we've progressed into the Mercedes Sprinter and actually building our own bodies on the Ford. Andrew, the Ford van that you were driving, this is how we get it in. It's called a cutaway chassis. Just the front cab. After the front doors, there's nothing there but frame and rail. We sell to a lot of photographers. We sell to a lot of windsurfers, kiteboarders, skiers, people that like to go down to Baja a lot, windsurf and surf down there. Just people that like to get out in the backcountry and out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like we are right now. We put new drive shafts in. He's got it hanging here right now. Just the shocks are made by Fox and Santee. All new spring mounts, new shocks. This is the size of the transfer case, so it's a lot smaller, and it's probably 10 times stronger. But every component made in California. And the van will get you there, and then it's got all the comforts of a motorhome inside, get you off the ground, get you out of the weather. At the expo this year, that was a perfect example. We had rain, we had mud, and we had snow, and we had cold winds. And that's perfect Sportsmobile weather. So this new Mercedes Sprinter, this is the first time we've had it off-road, and I've been very happily impressed on its capabilities in the sand and in the rocks, and I'm ecstatic about it. The Ford is body on frame. It has 10 forward gears and 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. You can drive it rear wheel, front wheel, or 4-wheel, as you've experienced. And it's just a more robust 4-wheel drive system. It's got more articulation. It's a more extreme off-road vehicle. I believe this Mercedes, which is unibody and factory 4-wheel drive, it does have a low range option. I believe it'll do 80%. I've been saying 80% of what our customers believe. After doing this little run right now, I'm thinking maybe 85% even. It's a very capable off-road vehicle.
Driving the Sportsmobile off-road along these tracks, it's not exactly a nimble vehicle. Well, it's not exactly a small vehicle, but I found it easier than I expected it would be. It took me, I don't know, an hour or so to get used to the width. Off-road, to get used to the length took me a little while, but It's absolutely competent, as comfortable as anything on these rough tracks. It really is quite impressive. The interior and sleeping accommodation is actually designed for 4 people, and these seats can be used while traveling. There are seat belts, so it is actually a 4 people carrier, not a 2 people carrier as I first thought. The top lifts up, 2 can sleep up top, 2 can sleep down here, and I've been sleeping in both places. Up top you get a nice view through mosquito netting, and also there's plastic ceiling, which means that if there is wind you can still see out plastic windows, which is actually quite a nice idea. I wouldn't configure it like this for myself. I mean, these are very high quality kitchen tops. I probably wouldn't do that, but that's just my style. I think I'm a little bit more practical, but quality of finish is first class. I don't like where the fridge is, but you know, the thing is that these vehicles, almost all of them, are actually built to individual specifications. To be honest with you, this entire trip I've been thinking, how would I configure it? What would I do? And my mind has been churning all the time, different ideas on what I would do. I'd use some of the systems, definitely. They've got the full electrical system, the 12-volt system, and a AC system, water pumps, and the whole bang shoot. It's been an extraordinary day. This is the first desert that I've truly explored outside of Southern Africa, and the early part was so similar in so many ways to the Richtersveld, which is in the northern Cape Province. Very dry, very arid, not very many plants. But this area here, this part of the Mojave in the Joshua Tree Forest, is unlike anything I've ever seen. And in fact, I see all around me examples of cacti that I've only ever seen before in nurseries and in my children's bedrooms. They're like these little cacti. They're here. The real ones are here. And these Joshua trees they're like old ragged men walking ever so slowly through the bush. It's an amazing place, beautiful and quiet, and a perfect place to set up camp. Last night we were looking up at the stars in our chairs, and it was a magnificent sky. Extraordinary glow in the east. Las Vegas apparently is the brightest city in the world. The whole sky, and it's several hundred miles away. I mean, I think it's about 200 miles away, and yet the whole, no clouds, so it wasn't as if the light was reflecting off the cloud. There was just this glow over the horizon. Amazing that a city could give off so much light. Some time ago, NASA did an experiment using Hubble. They wanted to estimate how much life, or how many objects there were in the observable universe, and they also wanted to extend the observable universe further than they had before. So they took Hubble and they searched the entire sky, and they found the emptiest piece, and they pointed Hubble at that. The cross-section of sky, if you can imagine, if you can take a small coin and turn it on its edge and hold it at arm's length, that's the cross-section of sky, and they pointed it at the emptiest piece they could find. Over the week's exposure, month's exposure, light gathered and it collected objects. They reported that the objects in that section numbered approximately 4,000, and then they made the startling announcement that none of those objects were stars. Every single one of them was a galaxy. A galaxy. Go and think about that for a while. I find it be a little bit beyond my capabilities, to be honest with you. It's like asking a fish to imagine what it would be like going for a walk down the high street.
We're on the Mojave Trail, and this is the Mojave Trail mailbox. We're not sure where it came from or who put it here, but you're supposed to sign the logbook and leave something here and then proceed down the trail. You want to get a picture of me?
Oh, cool, look at this. There's all kinds of things in here. Long cuts, what is this? This product is not a safe alternative to cigarettes. It's probably snuff or something. There's a book, Outwitting Trolls. There's some biscuits. I see some water on the ground there. Bubble gum, chewing gum. And the pen, does it stay in here? Yeah. What can I leave? We're heading for a Joshua Tree forest. Doesn't the word Joshua Tree sound so nice? Well, this is a Joshua tree. I have no idea why it's called the Joshua tree, but I shall find out and let you know. Common folklore suggests that the Joshua tree was given its name by a group of Mormon settlers who crossed the Mojave Desert in the mid-19th century. The tree's unique shape reminded them of the biblical story in which Joshua reaches up his hands into the sky in prayer. What we're going to do now is we're going to head to Soda Dry Lake. In the area, there are many dry lakes, and they're basically salt flats. And the one we're going to travel to today is called Soda Lake, and we're going to camp on its edge, if we can find a place. So this is Soda Lake, and we're coming to the end of our little expedition. What are we going to do now? Make up camp and eat sausages. Well, for those of you who know my overlanding exploits, places that I love to be, salt flats. And this is the first proper salt flat that I've been to outside of Africa. And I think the vehicle that I'm driving is fitting where I am, and that's my mount, and this is what I'm going to wake up to. So our camp is about 2 kilometers that way across the pan. I just hope it stays dry. Aha! So this big mystery. Why did I have to carry a rock 100 miles across the desert? On top of this traveller's pile is a plaque, the inscription on which will reveal all. I don't know what the big mystery is, but this is the pile of stones that everybody who crosses Soda Lake has to now put a rock on the pile and read the plaque. Only problem is, well, for you anyway, I am forbidden to reveal it. I've been sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you what it says on the plaque. It's actually quite... Wow, that's really... Whew. Sorry, I can't. I've been sworn to secrecy. They said, no, you do not say it's no. So, you're going to have to come here. If you want to know what it says on that plaque, you're going to have to come here. Now that was a worthwhile trip. That was a worthwhile trip.
Yosemite National Park, California, lies deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and it is one of North America's showpiece natural wonders. It's known for its magnificent mountain vistas and its giant redwood trees. I'm spending time here with my good friend Bob Towery. He's from Colorado and has brought with him his new Toyota Tundra.
So we're here in Yosemite Park and we're looking for a place to camp. We've had a great time. The camp is full of campers. So we're driving around finding a place to camp anywhere in the forest. We asked a local, we got some great advice. We didn't know where we were going to end up. He told us to go down this road. Many of these roads say no motorized vehicles. So I saw this sign down here and I worried I wouldn't be able to drive my vehicle because it had a big line through it. But I thought, well, hold on a minute. I got out of my truck, I read this tiny font, and it says, motor vehicles not recommended.
It's Memorial Day weekend, and through the Yosemite Park, just an enormous amount of traffic. And I said to Bob, I just don't want to camp anywhere that is going to be even, to the people. And that's why we're driving down these lonely roads. Find somewhere lonely, quiet. We can have a peaceful night amongst these absolutely magnificent trees.
Soft ground, isn't it? We've got plenty of room for the truck and have.
Okay, you put the truck here.
There's a flat spot there. There's probably a flat spot.
There's a lovely sweet smell in there. Everything's damp. It's been raining.
I say we flip a hotel key because we don't have a coin. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Action.
I think you should go to that one.
This one?
Over there. Good boy. These are the world's largest pine cones. Beautiful, isn't that? You can buy them in the shops. They cover them in plastic and sell them for $10. All you actually need to do is drive off the road for half an hour and pick them up. But I'm not going to take it from the forest floor because, well, this is its home. Okay, so we've parked up, ready to camp, and I went into a local camping store. I did not bring camping equipment with me, having come all the way from England. So I went into a local camping store yesterday and I bought myself a small pup tent. $99 from REI, so North American retailer of camping gear. They have their own brands, and this is one of them, and I've been told that it's good gear, not spectacular but good, and that's what I'm after. I used to be quite happy with very, very thin mattresses, not anymore, so I've bought an inflatable mattress. We'll try that out too. That's a lovely little tent. Right, now, what have we got? That's my cup, because he only packed for one. Of course he only packed for one. He was traveling on his own, and I didn't pack for anybody because I didn't know where I was going to be doing this. So, you say this coffee's good?
I think so.
We'll have that, and I'll drink it out of my very stylish, yes, look, Atari Royal Collection Premier Edition. But that, where's Robert? Oh, he's holding the camera. That is very good coffee. Very, very rich flavor, and it's called, oh, I've torn the packaging. I don't know what it's called. It's very good. Now, apparently, what you're supposed to do with an inflatable mattress is that you pump it up fairly hard. You have the nozzle by your head, and you lie on it, and if the arch of your back doesn't touch, then it's too hard. But if your hips dig into the ground, then it's too hard. So you lie on it and then adjust it just right. And let's see. just right actually. Perfect. That is going to be a very comfortable night. But this is a first for me. There are bears. And bears in this area are quite familiar with people, which means that they are familiar with people's food. So the rules apply with camping with bears as they do with camping with wild animals in Africa. Never put food of any kind in the tent. So, I don't have any food, and the only weapon that is really needed with bears is that if they try and get into the tent, you need to have a knife in the tent so you can cut yourself out the other side, if it's not possible. But here it's not a pressure. The windows, doors both sides, so I don't have that problem. In fact, I have a lovely view. Isn't that nice? It's a nice tent. They say it's a two-man tent, but you'd have to be very chummy with your friend to have a comfortable night with two people in it.
But not forgetting one of the hazards of air mattresses.
Now, this is the mattress. Now I have to blow it up, screw that. Now, this will take me several hours, and I hope that by the time I faint from overdoing it, it'll be pumped up enough to cushion my fall.